Hello everyone and welcome back to Dragalia Foundry. This video is going to be my summoning session on the Dragon Special Summon Showcase for August featuring Shinobi, Konohana Sakuya, and Taka Mikazuchi. I also may do a little bit of summoning on Ardent Admirers. Since this is limited, I would love to be able to break my pity on this, just to say I had a chance at getting Valentine's Hildegard. I know it's not easy to snipe these units, but I've built up a small pity rate since the free summons and the daily deals on this started. I was lucky enough to pick up a Valentine's Ezlith yesterday, the day before the showcase ended, so I have the main thing I want from here, but I might come back to this just to give myself a chance at getting Valentine's Hildegard if we're able to summon what we need from Dragon Special quickly enough. I'm going for this despite the anniversary coming up very soon because I don't have any Max Unbound Shadow Dragons at 5-star, and Shinobi is honestly just that good. Taka Mikazuchi, not the greatest light dragon. I would say Cupid's generally a bit better, but I also don't have any Max Unbound 5-star light dragons. So I wouldn't be too unhappy with picking some of those up along the way to get Shinobi. I say that kind of hesitantly because I've seen people out there that ended up with a Mub Taco before they got their first Shinobi, and that is a very real possibility here. I also maxed out my Sakuya when I was trying to clear Wind 50 in the MG last month, so Sakuya at this point is just extra copies for extra adventures in MG. Otherwise, there's really not a whole lot of benefit to me getting her. But for the foreseeable future, this is probably our best chance at Shinobi, and so that's why we're going to be summoning today. I still need to do 6 more singles before my appearance rates increase, so we're going to start off with singles, and hopefully we'll get lucky and be able to stop relatively quickly on this. This is actually a pretty good Dragon Special. All 3 of the dragons have a strength component, or at least the damage component, so to speak. And the same is true of the 4-star dragons that are on a rate up. So any way you look at it, for Mercurial Gauntlet, it's a pretty solid banner, I would say. Now, the upcoming banner was previewed. We're going to get Victor on that, Noelle. And we're also going to get a new skill damage wind dragon called Vayu. That showcase looks pretty solid. Victor has the ability to inflict bleed. He's a 5-star blade. Okay, just a 4-star. Noelle is a 4-star wand with a pretty big 25% buff to Wind Adventurers on her primary skill. So we'll have to see how long that lasts and how quick it is to charge, but that looks really good to me. She also has a damage dealing skill as her second one. And then the dragon is fitting this mold that we've seen lately with Siren, Konohana Sakuya, of 20% strength, 90% skill damage, and just like those 2 dragons, it increases the damage dealt by your next skill by 40% when you use its dragon skill. So it seems like a very good dragon. It's likely to outclass even Pazuzu on a lot of adventurers. So Pazuzu had like 1 day to shine with the affliction change, and that's basically it. He's still great, of course, if you have a poison enabler in your team, but those skill damage dragons are just really, really good. In terms of overall DPS, they're not necessarily great in everything. I feel like for facility events in particular, you do want to have a certain amount of strength to mow down those smaller enemies. But outside of that, they're really pretty good. Curse is one thing that can limit them. Skill resistance in the case of Void Agni. So they do have some weaknesses, but yeah, their power is great. Here we're gonna get a 5-star though. Please. It's a bow. Alright, it's a Luis. That's okay. I know a lot of you out there have been hyped. You're Luis fans. You're really excited about how good she's become with the affliction change. And as an Eleonora fan, I have mixed feelings about Luis. Luis is kind of a power-crept Eleonora in some ways, but there are differences between the two, and I'm kind of happy they can sort of coexist in this post-affliction change world. The benefit to Eleonora is her full HP equals poison does make it easier to really cap out and poison the enemy 20 times. So it is harder and slower for Louise to cap out on poison, but she is really good at maintaining poison the whole match. It's just she might poison the enemy fewer times overall because Eleonora does it on her first and her second skill. So if you're concerned with just maintaining poison uptime, Eleonora should have it at a really high rate, but maybe for a shorter duration, and Louise should be able to last longer. They're both okay. I would say they're still not amazing though. You know, the Affliction change hasn't affected their personal DPS all that much. It's much more that they enable Pazuzu. These poison Punisher mechanics, burning Punisher mechanics, are really where you can capitalize on the fact that you can afflict the enemy a lot more now. Not so much the actual affliction damage itself. Although in the case of someone like Reyna, you know, the affliction damage is pretty good too. So we're just going to keep doing singles for a while here until we increase our pity rate. One thing I was kind of thinking about was using Valentine's Ezolith in other contexts. Some people have mentioned that because there are 2 Burning Punisher prints, there's 2 copies of Elegant Escort. If you were playing back during Valentine's Day, during the first run of that event, that fact alone makes her good enough to use Off Element, because she enables that print. And I kind of feel yes and no about this. Here's my big question when it comes to burning, and this also pertains to paralysis. I wonder if, with the Light and Shadow Mercurial Gauntlets, if they might change Roy's Affliction resistance at a higher level. Because it feels very unfair that he has 80% paralysis and blindness resistance when he has 0% for burn and poison. So my thinking on this is maybe the burn and poison being set to 0 is kind of the primary elements, flame, water, wind. And for shadow and light, they will set those to 80, and instead they'll set blind and paralysis to 0. That way some of the newer units like Yachio, Floor, Summer Cleo could get in on the fun when it came to paralysis afflictions, and some of those shadow units that can cause blind, like Norwin and Nefaria, could also enjoy getting to do that. That's kind of my hope for that, honestly, is that way they highlight a different set of units, and it's not like Valentine's Ezolith is just like your go-to affliction bot in every MG. I know that's purely speculation at this point, but I would be really happy if they did something like that, just because I feel like because those base resistances are just so high, despite the affliction change, those afflictions really don't have a lot of wiggle room or a lot of room to shine still. And obviously other afflictions just weren't changed at all. The only difference with the crowd control or like immobilizing afflictions is that you can stack some of them now with Bog. I think that's the only difference. We're going to need 10 more summons to increase our pity rate, and I think we're going to do it through singles again. Our singles are going down here, but I feel a little bit more confident just with the amount of worm I've been able to save up since I last summoned. Ideally, I would like to go into the anniversary with at least 300 summons, and when we started today, we had over 440 summons from my count. So we have a little bit of room to burn, but there is a possibility we go through all of these and still don't get a Shinobi. That would be unfortunate, so I'd say if we get close to our 300 summons left, maybe we call an audible here and abandon our Shinobi plan. Please, let's get a Shinobi right now. I saw those birds, maybe it'll be a 5-star. Nope, it looks like it's just going to be a 4-star. And it's a wand. I've gotten a bunch of wands today. I saw a Kleiman earlier, a Sanoa, and now an Amane. These wands would be pretty nice to come up on the next showcase. As for that showcase, despite it looking pretty good with Victor, Vayu, and Noelle, I'm probably just going to do daily deals on it. I would love to get Vayu to power up my Eleonora, but honestly, I spent 4 stones to max out my Pazuzu in the past, and so it's just not really practical for me to max out another Wind 5-star dragon, considering I've already cleared all of the gauntlet there's just not really a reason for me to do that other than to make the strongest Eleonora possible, which, you know, that's a good reason, but when there's content like the light and shadow that I expect to struggle with a lot more, I want to focus on powering up those characters and adventurers for the time being. When I get to a point where I'm kind of coasting, that's when I tend to gravitate toward my pet projects more, like Eleonora or Pietro, who I haven't used a lot lately, but he deserves to be powered up all the same. Here we're going to get an Axe and Summer Luca. Pretty cool that he's part of the normal summoning pool. I guess that's just a reminder of it. Let's see, 3 more summons before we increase our appearance rates. And I think once I'm at 5%, I will do Tenfolds. We could probably squeeze out another round of singles, but it just gets kind of boring at some point to do so many singles. So just for entertainment's sake, I think we'll go for a Tenfold, and there's a decent chance we'll break our pity rate and get a 5-star on that Tenfold anyway. Okay, this looks like it's going to be a 3-star. The one 3-star I'm really looking for is Wellspring Imp, weirdly enough. Wellspring Imp is a water 3-star dragon, and for whatever reason, since I decided to collect the 3-star dragons and max them bind and max level them all, that is one that just hasn't shown up that much, so it's currently the only 3-star dragon I don't have max leveled. Okay, so 10 more summons before we increase our appearance rates again. Let's go ahead and do a Tenfold here. I do expect to see some amount of generosity with the anniversary, so I think we'll be able to recoup a little bit. I know there are a lot of people who see this banner and basically all the banners lately as bait, and I think that's kind of justified. You know, they are doing a pretty good job of flushing our resources before the anniversary with lots of tempting things like the Valentine's banner, the summer banners, and now the Shinobi Dragon Special. Now they have a wind skill damage dragon coming up too. And if you don't have Addis, I'm sure that Victor is probably pretty tempting just because he can inflict bleed. He does have a more tanky and defensive kit, which is kind of unique. He can actually boost your team's water resistance, which is the first time an adventurer has been able to increase elemental resistance of some type. So that's kind of special and unique to him. But honestly, I just wish it boosted defense instead of elemental res, just because we actually have interactions with defense buffs. We have those double buffs. And so that would actually be more interesting mechanically than an elemental res boost, in my opinion, and give him a little bit wider application. So I'm definitely going to skip this one. Nothing new in this circle for sure. So we've done a fair amount of summons here. I would love to see a Shinobi and not some other dragon to break our pity rate, but it looks like we might not even be breaking our pity rate for a while. We're going to get 2. Let's see if anything transforms or does anything cool. We are also missing Nurse Eileen. She's the only 4-star in the normal summoning pool I'm missing. So let's go ahead and skip that. We are getting some nice unbinds on our 4-star strength dragons, which honestly I might take advantage of and start to build those up, especially when it comes to light dragons and shadow. I'm really lacking, so those Linworms and Juggernauts, they look pretty good. Okay, 4 4-stars, but still no 5-star yet. It's a sign we definitely could have gone deeper with our singles, but there is a staff there, and that could be Nurse Eileen, and we got a transformation. Okay, I hope it is a favorable transformation for us. Hey, at least we got our 3-star dragon I was talking about earlier. But I'm really hoping that's a Shinobi, because if not, it's going to take us a while to build up our pity rate again and try to get it. And let's see if our 4-star staff ends up being a Nurse Eileen. Nope, it's our other water healer, Thaniel. Not to be forgotten, he shows up right now to cleanse our burn. And let's see what we're gonna get. Oh, I hope it's something good. It's gotta be Shinobi, that's the one I really need. And of course, it's Taka Mikazuchi. Oh, I shouldn't have mentioned people's luck on this banner with Taco, but that's how it is. He looks really kind of ridiculous, kind of dinosaur-like here. Oh, no, actually his arms are pretty large. I was going to say they look kind of small, but he is a sumo dragon, which is pretty awesome, honestly. Can inflict stun. And the overdrive Punisher thing, the way I did a rough calculation for this is when he's max unbound, if you assume overdrive is like 40% of a match, then this plus his strength, it roughly translates to about a 54% strength dragon. But anytime overdrive is higher than 40%, you stand to actually improve compared to a Cupid, at least in terms of just pure DPS. So I don't think he's actually as bad as I might have thought at first. And for me, because I just lack other options, it's good. But unfortunately, that means we're starting again to increase our pity rate after doing several tenfolds in a row. So I might be a little more cavalier skipping forward with these summons for a while until we increase our pity rate, since we're already in pretty deep at this point. Let's see if we get a different one. Nope, it's in Namane. So if it's gold, I will wait and see if it transforms, but if it's just a 3-star, I will just skip. Alright, we'll skip that one. Marty, sorry to have skipped you, buddy. And this looks like it's going to be a 3-star, so let's skip ahead. Another 3-star dragon. Let's skip ahead again. Hey, I think we might have maxed unbound this guy now, which is cool. Okay, 4-star at least. Let's see a Shinobi, please. Okay, maybe a Juggernaut. I'll take a Juggernaut. Alright, Poliahu, who's just okay. I think the best 4-star dragon that provides both HP and strength is definitely Silk, because she has a pretty large debuff to defense and a pretty decent dragon form. I've been using her a lot in High Jupiter's Trial on my Heinwald, since I lack any 5-star Shadow Dragon that's of note, and honestly I've been pretty happy using her. I haven't had any trouble with clears for the most part, but I do feel less confident using her on a DPS, and it's actually a pretty funny shift in the game that has taken place since High Mercury's Trial released. During the earlier days of High Brunhilde's Trial, I feel like it was pretty widely accepted that if you're bringing a ranged DPS, there's a good chance that you're going to need to run a mixed HP and strength dragon, because otherwise they would lack the HP to survive. And I think because High Mercury reset that expectation so much, and it was beneficial for any type of adventurer to run a strength dragon, people went in with that mentality to High Jupiter's Trial, and you see a lot of these Gala Cleos in particular that have a low HP stat, but they're running a strength dragon instead of like a Silk or a Nidhogg, and then they end up dying, or they're on roulette in the first Electron outburst, because that's typically going to happen when High Jupiter is in overdrive, so it deals more damage than the initial blast. I see that really often where somebody will meet the HP check, but they will still end up dying. And yeah, I don't know if there's necessarily an improvement to be made. I don't know if I would suggest people actually use Nidhogg or Silk on a DPS, because you do get a pretty big advantage if you can afford to use Shinobi or Morishiten. But it's just something I noticed that feels like a pretty big shift in thinking in the game, and maybe it's also partially due, I'm sure it's due in part to dual worm prints, which were a pretty big game changer as far as survival goes anyway. Not a whole lot in these summons to speak of. Alright, so I think once we increase our pity rate again, I will go for another tenfold, but it's not looking so great for us right now. Another 3-star. We are getting a lot of Joes. Jo is not a bad substitute for Valentine's Ezolith if you didn't get her, or you're watching this at a later point where she's no longer available. The comparison's kind of similar to the one I made earlier between Luis and Eleonora. Jo actually can very consistently maintain burn because he has full HP equals burn, but he has a lot less utility. He doesn't have a defense debuff. He's costlier to invest in. You're going to spend more Eldwater bringing him up to spec with an Ezolith, so that's kind of the downside on Jo. and his personal damage is not great. Compared to Azalith's, it's okay, but she has that added team utility with the debuff for sure. Alright, I guess Joe wants to challenge that because he kept appearing there. Sorry, I keep checking back in. I just want to make sure we're doing the right amount of summons here. Alright, a Zardin. And looks like another 3-star, presumably. Another Imp. Okay, now this should be our last one before we get into our Tenfolds again. And crack into that Wormite for the first time in a while. We had gotten pretty lucky off our vouchers, daily deals, and things of that sort. So, Gloomdrake. And yeah, I think I will go ahead with our 5% and start on Tenfolds. So, cracking into the Wormite. Okay, using the Wormite has paid off. We're getting a 5-star. But is it the right 5-star we want? Please. Let's end the summoning. Oh, it's a bow. I think that's a duplicate unless it's a Summer Cleo. Actually, yeah, I forgot. They include the summer units. They include everyone as soon as their showcase ends. So even though the summer showcase went in for one day and overlapped with the Valentine's, this could be a Summer Cleo. It actually is a Summer Cleo! Okay. I can't be upset about this. Summer Cleo's really cute, and I love bow units. So even though I'm pulling for Shinobi to power up Gala Cleo, and Gala Cleo will mean I'm very unlikely to actually use Summer Cleo, hey, I have a 5-star light bow waiting to be used by her that Mallow is using currently. So I can't complain about not getting a duplicate when literally every other bow in the normal pool would have been a duplicate. So obviously Cleo has disappeared. That's interesting. So she's one of these adventurers with pretty good upside in terms of the affliction change, but the problem for her would just be that right now, like I said, in the current endgame gauntlet, Roy has a really high base paralysis res of 80%. So even though paralysis only goes up in 5 percentage point increments, you could still only paralyze Roy, I guess, 4 times. But maybe, when Hyde Zodiac comes out, he'll have 0% paralysis res, and you'll be able to paralyze it 20 times, which would be awesome in a team with Cleo, Floor, with Yachio. I still think it's funny that there's no 3D model here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, she's looking great. Alright. So, now we kind of have to make a decision. We are kind of getting low on resources, but we still have 20 singles, so I'm going to spend 20 singles trying to increase our pity rate, and then we'll see where that gets us. I'm going to be more liberal skipping through these since we've gone on fairly long in this summoning session, so I'm going to go ahead and skip them regardless of what I see. I say that, but then there's the birds. Okay, skip. Yeah, it was just a Lindworm. Alright, I'll have to apply that rule. Oh, there's birds again. I don't want to skip them. I love that transformation. Okay. Just the 4-star. I have really been looking forward to the summoning all week because it has been kind of a slow period in Dragalia with all the reruns. And now having another raid rerun right after this, it is a little bit disappointing. I'm not gonna lie. I think for some people it's new, especially if you started with the Fae release or Fae event. So I know for those people it's exciting, and it's great that you have access to those older welfare characters and welfare facilities. But for me, it's a little bit stagnant. I'm looking forward to spending this weekend with some Fire Emblem. It's Labor Day weekend here in the States, so we have a longer weekend. And also kind of just resting up because I have had kind of a sore throat this week. So if you notice a difference, that's probably why. Okay. Our goodie box is now getting stuff, so that's a sign we've summoned too much. I'm losing track of where we are, but we started with 24, so we're going to go down to 4 here. Sophie. Yeah, poor Sophie and Orion. I feel like really their damage skill just doesn't do anything for them as healers, as 3 stars. Some of these 3 stars could really use an ult more than others, in my opinion. But some of them, like Eric, are actually pretty great. I was glad to see such a nice response to the top 5 3-star video I put out. I might try doing more videos like that as opposed to spotlights, just because I think it's more fun for people and it kind of sparks more of a discussion. I feel like the spotlight formula has gotten a little bit stagnant and a little bit static lately, not unlike DL itself in some ways, but that's one thing I want to think a little more on how to switch up. If I'm feeling a little better this weekend as far as health, I would like to do a spotlight on Valentine's Ezlith because I do think she's awesome, but that's something I would need to start. And note, I am going to do my Dragalia weekly as usual, so I'll make sure that comes out. Okay, so 6 more summons, and then we'll do some Tenfolds. Nothing really, but we're going to have to start selling some of these 3-star dragons. We're doing some kind of dragon management after all these singles. Okay. Gosh, we got a lot of Cinder Drakes. Alright, Zace. Zace was one I rated a little bit more highly than some people. I do think Althemia is really awesome as well. It's just that Gala Cleo exists. That's pretty much the main knock against her that I have, is that that other unit is just so good. But you could kind of say something similar when it comes to Zace and Botan, so... Okay. Yep, we didn't break our pity rate, but we did get a nice Elaine pickup there. So I'm going to try and manage my dragons really quick. Let's go ahead and merge some dragons together first. So this is the situation with my dragons. Let's first... Oh yeah, we got way more than enough than we needed at this point, so let's do that. Honestly, I feel like there's just too many to sort through right now. And there's only 7 in our box. Let's go ahead and just keep summoning, and we'll come back to that if we really have to. So let's go for a Tenfold. Alright, we're gonna break our pity rate again. Let's see a Shinobi, please. 1 5-star. Is it a dragon? Okay, nothing. Oh, it's a staff. I was gonna say 1, but it's a staff. It could be Summer Verica, but it's more likely to be either of Heinwald or Hildegard, who I already have. And it's not Valentine's Hildegard, even though the Valentine showcase is running alongside this. She's not on this one, even though Shinobi is on hers. Oh man, so, whew, we're going to be summoning for a while for Shinobi. But if we do get a Summer Verica, that would be amazing. She was my favorite unit from that showcase, and I would have loved to pick her up last time, but I didn't. No way. This is probably a good indication of why you should skip normal showcases and go for Limited or Dragon Special or Gala. We just got both Summer Adventurers? This is insane. Man. Well, this is probably going to be one of my new favorite units. Like I said in my analysis, like, she doesn't necessarily have anything super special going for her for current content, but I just think she's a really pretty unit. She's a really good general healer, being Shadow Element, and yeah, I like her as a unit, so that's awesome. I'm getting all of the things I want, which is kind of funny because since MG came out, I've really kind of shifted my mentality and I've gone a lot more for power than I have for personal wants, because I want to still be able to keep up with the game and like clear new gauntlet levels as they come out. And that's the main reason I'm going for Shinobi here. But ironically, I'm actually getting along the way the things I would have summoned for just from like a fan service standpoint. It looks like we're getting some kind of connection issue. Yeah, those failed to connect to server. Man. Okay, we're getting a 5-star. I'll put up with a few fail to connect messages a day for these 5 stars, because these pulls have been great so far. It's taken us a while, but okay, there's a dragon. That could be the end of our summoning today, but it could also be a Sakuya, you know, it could be a Garuda. So there's all sorts of possibilities right now. But fingers crossed right now that it's a Shinobi. Okay, that's one Shadow Dragon I'm happy to see. Shadow Adventurer, who I like, despite not rating as highly as Ace. And yes! We got Shinobi, mission accomplished, and it wasn't too crazy. And we got some insane summons along the way. Okay, I feel really relieved because I was thinking this could easily take another 100 summons just to get one Shinobi. But we just need one. I have enough stones to max unbind this guy. And my Gala Cleo is now going to carry all of my meme units like Eleonora to victory in MG for sure. So I'm really happy I got Shinobi. And I think we have enough left. You know what? I think we have enough left. We have over 300 summons still. And I'm not even counting my Diamond team because I don't really want to touch that. Let's go ahead and go for it. We're on a roll right now. Let's go ahead and break our pity on this and see what happens. It's kind of a bad idea. I'm not going to lie. Our pity rate is low enough, and people have pointed this out in the comments that these free summons are actually kind of a way to bait people into summoning more than they need to. But you know what? I feel like we already lucked out and are already way ahead of the curve. I'm willing to give this a chance for the shot at Valentine's Hildegard. If I don't get her now, she's not going to come back for a long time. That's what I'm expecting, at least. And so I want to give myself that chance. I miss some other seasonal units like Marichi 10, Althemia, and Edward on Halloween banner. And so it would be nice to be able to kind of keep up and actually get her. Let's go ahead and skip though. We are dipping low with our Wormite at this point. But we're a good amount of summons in. I actually realized, oh no! Oh, I realized I made a mistake, but we are getting a 5-star, so this will be the end of our summoning. It's a sword? It could be Yaten! I have been wanting a Yaten. It could be Yaten. Yaten's like the next highest adventure on my list after what I got today. Okay, it's Naveed. Alright, makes sense because Naveed is on focus on this showcase. I was gonna say I did actually make a mistake here. I needed to do 2 more summons to increase my pity rate using singles, and I did actually have 4 singles, so that's kind of on me. I definitely wasted some pity rate here, and it might have cost me an extra tenfold. Whew. Just a long day of summoning, and I didn't catch that. But I hope you can forgive that mistake. We've now reset our pity rate, and I think, given how hard it is to snipe adventurers in this game, and the fact that I don't really need Valentine's Hildegard, and how lucky we've already gotten, that's going to do it for this summoning video, everyone. So thank you so much for watching. I apologize for being a little bit out of it today with me being kind of sick and it being the end of the week, the last chance to summon on this. But I hope that you know that I am really happy with the summoning results we got. And I'm looking forward to the weekend to check out the rerun, you know, just see what's up with it, see what's up with the new banner. If Noelle is broken or not, given how big a buff she has. And, you know, get into the anniversary month of Dragalia loss. The channel is about a year old at this point since I made it right after the Dragalia Direct with no experience whatsoever making YouTube videos. So it has been a very fun ride, everyone. But once again, that's going to do it for this video. I'll see you in a couple days with Dragalia Weekly. Thank you so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you next time.